Let's do this. Let's all close our eyes and do a little bit of breathing. How about that? You can place your palms on your lap or on your knees and ground into your feet. So if your legs are crossed, uncross them. And if you prefer to sit off the seat of your chair, to sit more upright, you're welcome to do that. And wherever it is that you are, bring your awareness to the back, to where the kidneys are, to the space between your shoulder blades, into the lower spine. And on your inhale, imagine as if you can expand that space. On the exhale, sigh through the mouth. Continue visualizing each inhale to expand the back, and each exhale to anchor the front. So the ribs close, the abdomen, feeling a knitting sensation into your viscera or your organs. Let's do 3 more big breaths all together. Deep breath in and deep breath out. And inhale in focus into the back. Awareness, presence. And exhale anything that is not that. 1 more total body breath. And exhale, sigh. And bringing this awareness and attention into the present moment. Very slowly flicker the eyes open. And here we are. Great. So a little bit about energy. So from a yogic context, before I do that, I should preface it with belief and experience. And so I'm not a big fan of belief systems as I am of experience. So if someone says something, what the yogis did was they went and they investigated and then they mapped it and they charted it and then they put it in these sutras into a lovely little book, into tiny little aphorisms, and then we dissect it now with contemporary language to see what it means for us. And so there's thousands of translations of modern contemporary adaptations of what was ancient knowledge. And so what that means for us is nothing, because we can't necessarily understand that unless we experience it ourselves. And so the practice of mindfulness actually is a little bit of BS, because not to like be the dark horse in the room, but it is. Most of our issues come from being too mindful. And so it's actually about being mindfully mindless, because whenever we're leaking energy, we're actually thinking too much. And the mind is only one aspect of the body. And though it is a beautiful gift, because the mind is able to analyze, the mind is able to process whatever experience that we will have, and then we see how that fits into our 3D life. But if we stay stuck in the mind, then it's only one aspect of ourselves. And so a lot of the work that I do is really around the body and around the emotions. However, the trick is I do use the mind, because I have to use my mind to communicate it. And so it's like, how do we use our mind to then soften the mind? And that's a dilemma that the yogis have been working with for thousands of years. And so I would like to focus on the body and what the body is experiencing when we are experiencing emotions, and what the emotions mean in terms of our energetic vitality. So whenever I feel, this is just from my own personal mapping, my own experience. I was just talking yesterday with a workshop about creativity and self-acceptance and how the two are related. And so creativity is something that innately is within all of us. We were created from a sperm and an egg, and then there was a meeting, and then life happened. And someone yesterday said that, I don't think I'm a creative person because someone told me that I'm not a creative person. And so that's just conditioned. That's a conditioned pattern that someone said something and kind of brought him away from his truth. And then the whole story just went on like that. And then in that workshop, what we did was we connected to the creative potential that was in the body. The body has its own wisdom. So we allowed the body to move in its own way, whatever that intelligence was, whatever guided it. And in finding that, there was a reconnection to the original spark, the same spark that made us. And so energy is like that. It comes in waves. And there's this misconception in the spiritual world or in the mindfulness world, whether you're corporate or you're more spiritual, you kind of straddle both, that we have to be riding up at the top of the wave the whole time, like surfing at the top of the wave forever and ever and ever, and that is positive and that is good. And so our value on that is linked up to our societal expectations of instant gratification. Because when we are constantly thinking, this is better than the down wave, we then start to have to look for ways to manage our energies. And, oh, I'm feeling scattered, or I'm feeling unfocused, and that's bad, and I should be there. And so we're hoping to be on the other side. And so what we were talking about yesterday was really about honoring and nurturing when we're in a down wave, when we're depleted, and we're not able to, let's say, function, so that we can use that as an opportunity to restore instead of using it as this opportunity to hope. And Osho says that hope actually it's not very useful. It is for someone who's in despair. There is that. However, for us, it's not so interesting, because now we're hoping for something to happen instead of just honoring the present moment of where we are. And so whenever I go into a down wave, I feel like I need to sleep like 10 hours. I'm craving certain kinds of foods. I can't really see out of my eyes. It's a little bit blurry. And yet there's like deadlines and there's things that I have to do. I have projects. And so I can make two choices. I can push forward, or I can slow down and take some time to nurture myself. And so I've learned to do that, because if I push through, I actually end up hurting myself physically. And I start getting aches and pains all over the place. So that's how I've tracked my down wave. And then when I'm in my up wave, I feel like I can do anything. But I then have to be really careful about managing that, because then I'll want to do everything. And so then this discernment about like how much I do and filtering that energy into productive action has to then take place. So whether we're in a down wave or an up wave, we have to learn how to filter. And so those of you who are meditation teachers, you're filterers. You're teaching or sharing the practice of how to hone and to refine energy. And so that's all I have to share on energy. It's just up and down. It just follows the waves and the cycles of nature, and we can't change it. Some of us have longer periods so my partner, for example, rides like a really long wave. And so if we compare ourselves to other people's energetic waves, we get really depressed, because wait, why are they still up there? It's that's how his ocean is. My ocean's like this. It's just whoop, up, down. And so I have to honor the moments when I'm in a state of depression. And so I honor the depressive states because they influence the up wave. And so that's energy. This light here that I will turn on for our experience is a high-frequency LED brainwave entrainment light technology created by this guy named Guy, who is based out of Thailand, and he was an ex-Apple engineer. And then he turned mystic, Qigong master, yogi, and he kind of straddle the world between tech and the mystic arts. Now he's just he's a center in Thailand, and he just lives there building little devices to enhance consciousness. So the light machine brings us to different brainwave frequencies, what Beatrix was talking about, when the last workshop we have our delta, we have theta, alpha, gamma, we have lambda even. And so we run the whole spectrum of deep sleep into a dreamlike state, into alert consciousness where we are now, into something that's a little bit more super conscious. And so there's all these different settings, different percentages. I don't know what I'm going to set it on. I'll figure it out as soon as I get to the end of this talk. And what happens is the light hits us at our brow, and it creates a whole chemical effect through the glands in the eyes, and then it goes through the pineal gland. There's a whole science behind it, but I won't bore you with that. And I also can't remember it. And it's not so important.
I love your honesty.
Because also, it's like experience trumps belief. And then I'll leave it to the scientists to track it and tell us about the chemical reactions, which is super important as well, because that satiates the logical brain so that the masses can understand, right? But for me, I really don't care. I care more about what I experience, and then I use that as my barometer of my truth. So if it makes me feel a certain way, or if it makes you feel a certain way, you have either two choices. You can either doubt the experience, or you can go with it. So I choose to go with it. Yes. Yeah, it's safe. The only thing it's not safe for is if you are epileptic. Anyone? No? Okay, cool. And if you're on post-psychotic drugs. I'm assuming, I'm making huge assumptions that no one is on any drugs. Okay, great. So the light will go on, I'll have some music, and I will do some guided visuals for mapping. So I feel like I want to map the body, because I think a lot of times in conferences we use the mind so much. So we're going to go into the body, and in the body we might go into a sensation which might turn into an emotional exploration, because again, energy is emotion, in motion. So if that doesn't work for you and you're more in the mind, because that's how you're wired, we're all wired differently, that's fine. So you might have more of a visual experience, or you might have many different thoughts running. Some of us are more, like I've worked with Visha quite a bit, and so she's very kinesthetic, she's in her body. If there are movements, like you need to move your spine, don't feel that you have to be like locked rigid in your seat. If you need to stretch. The rule here really is only to stay present and to stay aware, whether you're having something positive that is being amplified, or if something is triggering you, stay with that. Stay with the trigger. That's also very valuable. See if it's possible to be aware of the tempo of the breath and the tempo of the thoughts. Are the thoughts quick? Are they slow, or something in between? Are the thoughts about the past, or are they about the future, or perhaps the present? Just observe. Now bring your attention to the nature of energy and what it is to you. What does energy look like if it could look like something? What does energy feel like? How does it move? Follow it. Observe the waves of energy, the ups and the downs. And perhaps in your own life, it might reflect the different stages of how you have been through ups and you have been through downs. Observe the times when you needed to recover and to restore your energy. And also the times when you were most creative and most efficient. Now bring your awareness to the sounds from the music or any other sounds you might be hearing. And notice how these frequencies play a part in the restoration of energy, or maybe the opposite if you're having that experience. Just as a light hits the brow and has a sensation, so does a sound. Follow the sounds. If any movement is coming, allow the body to move. Go with that. Now bring your awareness to the emotions. The motion of the emotions in the body. Notice where your awareness goes directly to in the body. Is it the feet, the hips? Where do you associate your emotions to flow in the physical? And zoom into that. Notice the texture of the emotions. Notice the quality of them. Are they big emotions or small emotions, meaning intensity? Are they seeds of emotions? Are these emotions related to any physical pain or other physical sensations in the body? And for the last 5 minutes, observe what types of emotions your system gravitates towards. Again, without judging, observing, and give yourself the permission to follow them. Where will they take us? What are they for? What is the purpose of them? How can I transmute them?
Ye fleeting charms of earth, farewell, your springs of joy are dry. My soul now seeks another hope, a brighter world on high. I'm a long-time traveling here below. I'm a long-time traveling away from home. I'm a long-time traveling here below to lay this body down. Farewell, kind friends whose tender care has long engaged my love. Your fond embrace I now exchange for better friends above. I'm a long-time traveling here below. I'm a long-time traveling away from home. I'm a long-time traveling here below to lay this body down. I'm a long-time traveling here below. I'm a long-time traveling away from home. I'm a long-time traveling here below to lay this body down. To lay this body down.
Feeling all of that, breathing into all of that, whatever that is. Last few moments here.